So what do? We take the children through exactly the same process that we would do if I was working with professional musicians. The only added thing to it is that they create all their own music too. So what we do is that me and a team of musicians from Bathville is that we facilitate the creation of their own music in whatever style. So we have rappers, we've had DJs, we've had folk musicians, we've had the whole kit and caboodle. Last year we had the most amazing beatboxer that I've ever come across. Was in fact more accurate than the computer, and the beats that he was putting out were extraordinary. And this is a common feature of working with young carers, is that their parents on the whole have no idea that they're talented in music in any way, shape or form, because they'll go and learn what they do on their own in the bedroom or somewhere away from the family home, because they don't want to impinge any more upon what goes on at home. When I was a school teacher 10, 15 years ago, I didn't know anything about young carers at all. Now I've worked with young carers for the last 4 years, I've suddenly realised that I must have taught hundreds of them, and I never knew. Because the young carers, when they're at school, are the children that sort of walk between the raindrops. And they come to lessons, they're quiet, they get on with it. Sometimes they don't produce their homework, but then you don't hear from them again. They don't come to any extracurricular activities. They don't really have a voice. And indeed, with all the work that I've done with young carers over the last 4 years, a recurrent theme comes up again and again and again. We need to be listened to. People need to hear us. We're not heard at school. Children, young carers have, as Sarah said, bullying issues at school because they turn up late. They don't produce their homework. Sometimes their clothes are dirty. And all those things that are quietly kept under the rug. Staff on the whole at schools have no real understanding of what it is to be a young carer and what is required of a young carer, because every young carer's case is different. But I can tell you, having worked with them now for so many years, is that young carers are very proud of what they do. It's normal to them what they do, but when you hear what actually they do, it is completely abnormal. And basically, they lose out on their childhood, a lot of them, but they are pleased and happy to lose out on their childhood. The theme for their performance at the Salisbury Festival this year was, "We do it for love," and they were very open about that. So we take them through a creation process where they create music, usually about themselves, but it doesn't have to be, about their experiences. And then we put them through a rigorous rehearsal process. This is all open access. Lots of them have not done any music activity before. And after we put them through the creation process, the performance process, and we put them, the creation process, the rehearsal process, we put them into a performance at a big venue. And we don't skimp on that. So last year, we played on main stage at Salisbury Playhouse, next door. In previous years, we've played at the Bath International Music Festival at the Abbey, in front of 2 performances there actually, one in front of 300 people, one in front of 400 people. So it's not just friends and family that come, even though friends and family that come in, lots of them come. We've been to the Greenbelt Festival in Cheltenham, where no friends and family came, but we performed in front of 500 people. And we do it as professionally as we possibly can. The production values are totally professional. I'm very keen with these young people that it's aspirational right from the word go. I insist on very, very high performance standards, and they rise to it every single time. And every single performance that we've done, we've had a standing ovation at the end. And every single performance that we've done, every audience member has been moved or cried or something like that. And in fact, it happens with the performers as well. This is hard duty, heavy duty gear. And it's affecting. It's affected my life to be, because I do lots and lots of things. This is probably the most important part of my portfolio now. So where do we go from here? Well, in Wiltshire, this business of partnership that we've been talking about all day, this is a prime example of it. We've just had confirmation that we've got funding for 2 years to run young carers work right across Wiltshire. Youth Music have given us £75,000 towards £110,000 worth of delivery. And the idea is for the next 2 academic years, every term that we're going to run a young carers project with Youth Action Wiltshire, with every project resulting in a performance at a hosted venue. So we start off at the Pound Arts Centre in March, where we'll perform there, and then in the summer, in June, we'll be back at the Salisbury Festival. Then we go to the Cairn Festival in October, and then next year in 2014 we go to Wiltshire Music Centre, and then we go back to Salisbury Festival, and we do a performance in Bath Abbey as well to finish as it's attached to the orchestra. So all those arts organisations have partnered with us to make this happen. In addition to that, we've had support from both Bath Spa University and Wiltshire College, because we're running a stepping stone formatted CPD programme alongside it, because young carers work is very, very specialised work, and people need to be trained how to do it. It's not like just doing a music project. It's much more involved than that. Particularly the emotional side of it and the logistical side of it, which are very complex indeed. So alongside all those projects, there's 7-8 days worth of delivery leading through each of the performances. We're going to run a CPD day where each of the host organisations can ask any of their practitioners if they'd like to come to it, and they'll get trained specifically in working with young carers in a musical environment, but they don't have to be musical particularly. But we're also accrediting the young carers involvement. That's the older young carers looking after the younger young carers. We're accrediting that at level 1 ASDAN. And we're also accrediting a level 3 a BTEC diploma through Wiltshire College. So we're going to have Wiltshire College students working with us. And in addition to that, my course, which is called Music in Action, which is a module at Bath Spa University at level 6, those students who are trainee professional animateurs, in effect, are going to work with us as well. So we've got a stepping stone approach. Now, what's really special for me, and I always think the proof of the pudding is in the eating, is that I'm going to show you in a second a violinist. For me, she gets me right there. She's gone from being agoraphobic, caring for a mum, in a school-phobic, desperate situation, to playing, as you're going to see, this is her here, on her own, on stage, at Bath Abbey in front of 400 people. This was 3 years ago. In this year, in 2012, she was a trainee animateur at basically level 3-ish, sort of A-level level, and she was helping the young carers who had not done it before here at Salisbury Playhouse. Next year, she's talking about coming to Bath Spa University to do a music degree. She's had no formal training. In fact, her mum and dad didn't know that she could play the violin. We didn't know she could play the violin until she came along to the first session, and one of my colleagues, Charlie, had bought his violin with her, and she got it out. It was there, open in the workshop room, and she got it out and she started playing. The girl can play anything by ear. She's never had a lesson in her life. She can whiz up and down the fingerboard. Her intonation is no problem. She's got ears of steel. And she's never been involved in any extracurricular activity at school. And like I said, she's been school phobic for the last 3 years. The Young Carers team had to work incredibly hard for months before to get her to come out of the door of her house. So Alan, one of the Young Carers team, would bring her to the end of the drive and then walk her back to the front door, and then he'd get her into a car and then walk back to the front door, and so on and so on, so she could get to the first session. Since then, she has flourished. We're going to play you Calypso, which they invented themselves. And I think it doesn't need any more words from me. This perfectly explains the effect on these young people of actually doing music. It reminds me of why I do music. Thank you. As Ed said earlier, I really related to what you said. You know, I don't do this for my bank balance, this sort of stuff. I do this stuff because it's right. It's absolutely the right thing to do. And it touches people on a very, very deep emotional level. And it touches the children. It's very harrowing for the parents sometimes to listen to what their children are saying in public. And it's also incredibly moving for the audience that come. And audiences do come